Going on, Canes fam? This is Spike Dry coming back at you with Gridiron Grandmasters. And yeah, welcome to the war. It's been, bullets have been flying, bombs have been dropping. It's just been pretty much hell on earth when it comes to Twitter and the hurricanes this past week. So we're here to talk about the blame game because we should not have lost to Michigan State. At the very least, we shouldn't have lost by 3 touchdowns. And everybody knows that, and how you react to that is your own personal opinion, your own, you're not a better or worse Canes fan for being upset or being positive and supportive. But I'm just going to go ahead and say that if you want to go change your fandoms, go ahead and leave, man or lady. Enjoy yourself rooting for some other team, because no matter what, you're never going to be bored being a Canes fan. And I remain a Canes fan for life. I say that every week, and this week is no different. But I do want to take 2 minutes and point out this one play. Today, we're talking about the offensive play calling, but the most important play, in my opinion, of the entire game was not even a play call. It was a lack of action by Coach Manny Diaz. This is the 4th and 1 play. This is the setup that you guys have, and they did squeak the ball in with the QB sneak at the obviously right after this frame took place. I just want to take a look. You see how many guys are off the line of scrimmage here. That's way too many people that are 2 yards off the box. Just what are you guys looking at? I mean, I understand that you got to play the pass. It is 4th and 1. They're not necessarily going to run the ball. That's fine. That's very fine. But these guys do not look ready to go when this ball is snapped. And that's not really their fault. It's kind of their fault. But when you have this many players who are clearly not ready for the ball to be snapped, Tyreek's still adjusting his freaking mouthpiece, and he's 7-8 yards off the ball. Like, you know whose fault that is. Look, you can even count them. 10 Michigan State Spartans on the left side of your screen on the line of scrimmage. 5 Miami Hurricanes on the right. How on earth do we expect to stop them from getting this first down? The fact that we almost did is a testament to how hard our defensive players played all game. I give them a ton of credit for trying, giving 100% effort on pretty much every play. I couldn't spot a play where the guys did not give 100% effort, which I greatly appreciate. I do, however, blame this guy. You have to call a timeout there. Manny, you have 3 timeouts. 3 right there. And you did not call a timeout to reset, to give your players the insight that you could give them, to give them the best opportunity to stop that 4th down conversion. If there's anybody to be blamed, it's Manny Diaz for the loss. For the program and all this other stuff, I don't know, man, whatever. But for the loss at Michigan State is absolutely Manny's fault and nobody else's. And yeah, the players did not put us in a position to crush them. We could have scored 2 or 3 extra touchdowns if we didn't make mistakes on offense, which we will get to. But at the end of the day, the game was in hand. It was right there. And everybody in the stadium wanted the stop to happen. All the players on the sideline were ready to do it. All the guys on the field gave 100% effort, and it came down to one person making the decision at the time when pressure was at its greatest. And I'm pretty sure Manny just froze, and he decided not to take a timeout. There's no excuse. Part of the reason that I do this series is because you need to be able to make decisions under pressure. Chess players, as nerdy as we are, the whole point of the game when you're playing a 2-minute game, 3-minute game, even a 10-minute game, you have to make a number of calculations and you have to make a decision under time pressure. And the best chess players are those who are able to do that and function at a very high level intellectually under pressure. And that is why I look at these games and I look at the play calling to see if we have a coach who is capable of doing that. And so far this year, I've been focusing on Rhett Lashlee, but for the rest of the year, I'm only going to focus on Rhett Lashlee because I can tell you right now, I know Manny Diaz does not function well under pressure. This moment proved it to me for all time. And that is why I can't support him as the coach for the next season, I think the sooner we move on from him, the better off the program will be, the better position the players will be in to actually be successful in their careers, in their lives. And he failed them. And that's why I'm on that train. That's why I'll remain there. But at the end of the day, this is my last word on it. I'm going to say my piece and be done with it for the rest of the year, because the board, the athletic director, whoever will make their decisions, and I won't harp on it anymore. But if there's, the name of the game is, or the name of the episode is The Blame Game, and really it just needs to rest on that man in green. All the people in orange and white around him, they're all doing their best. And I know that Manny's trying his best, but simply his best is not good enough. There was nobody else in that position who could have made the call that needed to be made to put his players in the best position to succeed. Now, with that said, we're here to talk about Rhett Lashlee. And as always, Canes fans, in the bottom left-hand corner is a little icon for 365 Canes football. I love the film breakdown that Steve-O does, and every single time you see an icon, you can go over to their Twitter and check them out on YouTube, and you can see more in-depth film breakdown of what happened in this particular play. I, as always, am going to focus on the play calling and see how what happened on one play leads to hopefully a better decision, or informs the decision for the next play call. So 1st and 10, we get the ball to start the game, immediately get sacked. Why is that? Well, it was a play action pass that we didn't block. Was it a run pass option? Probably. But it immediately blew up in our face. So we come back, though, on 2nd and 13. King hits Mallory. Great play call, in my opinion. No fanciness. They showed a zone look the whole game, immediately attacked it by putting a big target in the middle of the field. I really enjoyed how we responded to the really terrible first play, at least in terms of the play calling. How many times we do it the rest of the game? Well, you can track it yourself. So follow it back up with a name that we will hear for the rest of the day. Charleston Rambo, 2 yards. Now, we did go back to the play action, but we had a much faster play call. One where even if they blitzed, even if they pressured, we were getting the ball out of King's hands early. Good look. There was definitely a penalty on the play against Mallory with illegal hands to the face. I lost my shit when I saw that live. And honestly, I was surprised that there were no coaches in the face of the referee screaming at him because they didn't call it there. But hey, it is what it is. So we come back, pistol formation, one of my least favorite formations that we do. But we ran the pop pass out of it. So honestly, I like the eye candy. I love the idea of the pop pass. Harley got 5 yards out of it. I did not like the later runs we gave to Harley, but I love that play design. We should definitely use it with other people. Harley's fine, but he's not a running back. We've got actual running backs who we saw during this game. All right. So next, more of a traditional pass. It was a rollout and pass to Harley. A great play design again. D'Eriq does not get his feet underneath him, does not get his legs underneath him. I do think that his repaired knee is totally fine. And when he hits his technique correctly, he can throw beautiful passes, but it's inconsistent. So because of that, what should have been easily a 10, 20, 30-yard gain, even because of some great blocking downfield by Charleston Rambo, 5 yards, but the play design was set up for a big home run play on 3rd and 3, but it was also safe. So all around, great job for Lashlee. He had this game scripted out. I think he realized that Michigan State was running cover 3 a whole bunch. That's why we start seeing this play pretty much every drive from here on out. Run a deep comeback from our outside receiver, who turns around right on the sideline, right just past the hashes, and easy money all game. Hey, if they give it to you, keep hitting it. I mean, that's true in chess. That's true in football. That's true everywhere. If you're competing with someone and they allow you to do something, just keep doing it. Why wouldn't you? As long as it's there, you should keep doing it. On this play, obviously didn't go according to plan. It was a play action, and it was a scramble. This was not a designed run. Had it been a designed run, I think King would have held on to the ball better, because he wouldn't have been trying to look upfield first and then not tuck the ball away properly. I think that a run would have been warranted at that point, because prior to that, we ran, I mean, the pop pass technically was not, it was a pass, but it was basically out of the backfield. But really, every single play that we scripted to start this game off was a pass. Again, something that we'll see throughout the game. I think when you overemphasize stuff, it just, when you are not in balance, your offense is not in balance, it creates a lot of problems. Anyway, so that our very promising first drive ends in failure. Next drive, we get completely screwed out of the gate because of special teams. In a lot of ways, we lost in all three phases of the ball, of the game. Just bad punt return, really just bad, I guess, coverage on the punt, and a false start by D. Wiggins. Why not? He still kept getting playing time. He did fine, but come on, man. So we start at the 1 yard line. We get pushed back to the half yard line. And then I want you guys to note that there's little eyes at the bottom corner. If I notice while doing film review that they stop and check and everybody looks at the sideline, that's a check with me call. I want to make sure that we're highlighting those plays, because these are the plays that Lashley is specifically calling, changing the play potentially from the sideline. As kind of an audible. So he's exerting even more control over the play call, trying to basically call an audible from the sideline. And sometimes that was a good thing. Sometimes that was not a good thing. In this particular case, it was a great thing. He set up a play call. Romello Brinson gets his, I believe, first catch of the year. Almost first down right out the gate, but a really solid throw, of course, for it to be completed. And it backed up in the end zone too. Hey, good shit. Now, 2nd and 2, what are we going to run? You guessed it. We're going to run inside zone. But because we didn't run it nearly as much as we did last week, it honestly was fairly effective. There were not that many times that inside zone wasn't, I wouldn't say, it didn't lead to negative yardage. Again, if they're not ready for the inside zone, even though it wasn't blocked particularly well, 3 yards means it's there every time you need 3 yards. And you will see that throughout the game as well. If we needed a few yards, we tried inside zone first, because, again, we don't have a bread and butter play. That's basically our bread and butter play. All right. So then we do this terrible formation, in my opinion, double stacks on both sides. If you're not running a screen out of this formation, you're setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. You're forcing the receivers on top of each other, or the tight end, as the case may be. That means that basically one person can cover them right out of the gate. There is no space for them to get open from the snap of the ball. And it means everybody who's in the box can blitz the hell out of the QB and the running back. I mean, the only thing they have to worry about is an option play. Otherwise, it's open season on the quarterback. I know I appreciate the fact that our offensive line did not play well in this game at all. Tons of penalties. They gave up tons of pressure. But at the same time, you got to put them in a position to succeed. And Lashley did not do that with this. He tried to trick them. And when you're on your own 13-yard line, in my opinion, don't do that. I mean, obviously, hindsight's 20/20, but this, to me, never looked like a recipe for success. King didn't even barely get to move before he got sacked for 6 yards. Now we're back on our 7-yard line. So what are we going to do? We're going to do a designed run off the end, which we should have done on first down, but whatever. I don't know why we waited till 2nd and 16 to do that. Actually, I do. As soon as the sack happened, Lashley decided to phone it in and say, okay, let's just not get any turnovers here. Let's just punt it away and get out of here. 3rd and 11, he dumps it off to Cameron Harris out of the backfield, gets 7 yards. Good effort by Cam. Yeah, it was not really in the cards. He was not put in position to succeed as usual. And that was off of a check with me, which I believe he was looking to be more aggressive. Lashley was, but he saw that they were going to hold it down. So he felt a dump off to Cameron is probably the best move. I know Cam was not the first call. They at least stretched it down the field, on and on. The point is that Lashley phoned it in on this drive after that one play call, because that's really what it is. The flow, the rhythm is hyper important. Especially with a fast-paced offense like this. But in general, you need rhythm on offense, and calling a bad formation, one that sets you up for your weak spot is the offensive line, setting them up for failure, means we punt again. So now we get the ball back a third time in the first quarter, run for 4 yards to the 23-yard line, and it was inside zone. Of course it was. Now, this is a check with me play. This is, we're moving the guy in formation, whatnot. Decide to run the ball with Cam on the inside zone. Here's the problem with this. They literally, this is the check with me part, and they're literally, asking to reset basically. And even during, I don't even have to highlight it because during the broadcast, Rocky Boyman circles the giant fucking area that's wide open for Mallory to get 5 yards. It's 2nd and 6. You want a manageable third down and to go where even a yard would get you the first down? That's the play. It's obvious. And the thing is that King's calling out the play. Oh, this is going to be the play. This is going to be the play. Everybody on Michigan's talking. And then when they actually run the play, it's jet action into the flat. And because of the jet action, you see how many people on Michigan State are inside the box. There is nobody covering Mallory. The only person who could possibly disrupt the pass to Mallory is the DN, who we let go on purpose. We pulled the guards, we pulled the tackle. Like, we did that on purpose to put him in a bind. But you see the open areas, not just for Mallory down the field, but also you could flip it to Harley in the flat, and you've got one person to block. Mallory's going inside. He could block the linebacker, and you've got one-on-one blocking outside with the cornerback. This is easy money. No matter how you decide to run it, the only thing you shouldn't do is run the ball here. And so the fact that that was an option, the fact that the eyes on me call from the sideline by Lashley was a run of any kind, was just the wrong call. I didn't mind the jet action. I didn't mind the setup, but you have to make it clear because you're exerting control over the offense to say, look, I see the field. You are passing the ball here. No questions asked. Instead, we get a yard. Instead of it being 3rd-and-1, it's 3rd-and-5. We have to pass the ball. And I mean, it was a great pass by King, in my opinion. It may have been a little off. It could have been even leading Harley a little more. It hit Harley in the hands, man. That was just, and Harley gets benched for this drop, right? So that's something that as a coach, you can't control in terms of strategy. But Rob Likens intervened and said, Harley, you're sitting for 2 drives after this. So we don't see him till the very end, I think, of the second quarter. And Harley comes back out and does well the rest of the game. A learning experience for sure. Another eyes on me play that I think worked well because they did, again, more movement. I think they actually moved Mallory across the formation and opened it up so that slant was there. And that's the right play call. Hell, a slant, let's go back to the play before. A slant would have been great here too. You have them both run double slants. It's fucking there as well. Like, everything is open on the right side of the field. So of course we run left. Anyway, so that's how this leads to our opening. So into the first quarter, we have 3 drives, 0 points. This reminds me very much of the Napoleon attack. It's named after that guy, Bonaparte, who's said to have a deep love of chess, but was a mediocre player. Man, I feel that. So it's where you bring the queen out and the bishop out right away, and you try to force a quick action. So the thing is that it's weak. It looks good. It is dynamic in terms of developing pieces, getting players out there, getting them set up. But it allows the other side to immediately attack your queen, forcing the queen to move when it shouldn't, or wasting time basically and not doing anything productive. And it deprives the other pieces of their best places to move as well. This is how I felt for this first quarter. For sure. In this particular play, not only is the knight, the black knight, going to attack the queen, if white's not careful, he's also attacking this pawn over here, which would put the king in check and also take the rook. Basically just blowing up white's entire thought process, development, all this fun stuff right out of the gate. It's just not a good opening. And this is really what I felt like we did in the first quarter. We did a lot of flashy plays. We did a lot of kind of eye candy, moving things around. And we kept doing that throughout the game, but they didn't develop the players properly. I mean, for a guy who ended up getting 12 catches for the entire game for over 160 yards and 2 touchdowns, you'd think that Charleston Rambo would have had a big first quarter. He got 2 targets and he caught both of them for like 10 yards. I mean, why is he not the focal point of the offense from the get-go? Why? And again, if the defense is giving you stuff, why aren't you taking it? So I would say, I guess from here on out, I'm going to try and give grades to Lashley's to Lashley's play calling. First quarter, C minus. It wasn't as bad as App State, but not great because he missed opportunities. He even tried to exert control and missed opportunities, and you just can't give someone a good grade for that. I like the creativity more, but it wasn't executed great. And like I said, he had plenty of opportunity to really take advantage of the Michigan State defense and did not in the first quarter. So he did not throw out the entire game, really, but the first quarter was blatant when you had the ball 3 times in one quarter and had to punt it 3 times. So we get the ball back. Michigan State settles for a field goal, and we get the ball back to start the second quarter, basically. And here we go. Now, all of a sudden, he realizes that this shit is open all day. Rambo, outside. Really, it's a comeback out, I guess, but deep comebacks, 9 yards. Then we need a few yards. What do we run? Technically we run read option, and Cam takes it for 3 yards. It's an inside zone play. We've got the QB option action off of it. And again, we have this double stack. So I don't think this formation helps us in any way. The structure does not benefit us in any way, except maybe to pull someone outside the box, kind of. But even then, they're going to the strong side where the tight end is anyway. It's just not setting us up. It's not forcing the defense to make decisions pre-snap, in my opinion. So, but we do get the first down. So then we follow it back up, and we get a pass to Charleston Rambo. This time he runs the comeback in so that he's got space, and he burns that corner for another extra 10 yards. Beautiful first down. And then we've got this pass to Cameron. This was a dump off that he basically was screwed. I mean, he was. We put Cam in terrible positions all the time. You're going to pass him because he's the outlet, and they were already waiting for him because the actual route was not a deep comeback, which would have made sense for Charleston. That would have cleared a lot of space for Cam to be able to run up. Instead, he runs, I guess, a choice option where he runs a quick hitch. Well, he runs a quick hitch, so the guy who's supposed to be defending him is already in the area because he ran no further than 3 or 4 yards upfield, and Cam's getting nailed at the line of scrimmage because as he catches the ball and turns around, the guy's already in his face. If he had a 10-yard space to make a move, that's different. But no one would have made that play. I don't care who you are. Derrick Henry would not have gotten out of that because he wouldn't have had any time to gain steam. He had to wait, try and catch the ball. Dude was already in his face. So this is just, again, a poor play call. So now all of a sudden we go from 1st and 10, we have some sort of production, to now 2nd and 10, and now King is running for his life. As usual, the whole game he tried to run. They stretched him outside. They did a good job of containing him in a lot of ways. And the only times he ever got really good productive runs, we were called for holding. Is that a coincidence? I think not. But, again, you shouldn't. This is not a design run. So King didn't find anyone, didn't have time, decides to scramble, gets the edge for 3 yards, and almost dies in the process. Not a productive way to handle things. After that, now we have 3rd and 7. Now we got to get a big one. Who do we go to? Rambo, outside, come back in. Beautiful. We should have been not just hitting the whole game. That's fine. We should have been running plays off of this. This is the part that I felt like we failed on. But we'll get there. So another 1st and 10, Michigan State 11, passes to him for 9 yards. This is where you have the double stack. I like it, but it wasn't a double stack on both sides of the field. It was just the one side. And off of the play action to run to the strong side, you're forcing the defense up front to commit to either the screen out wide or the potential run to the strong side to where Mallory's in line on the left side. Beautiful. This is great. And it gets us 9 yards. So what do we do to follow up? We're on the 2-yard line, 2nd and 1. Derrick runs for a 1-yard loss. Now, this was just poor blocking. I'm sorry, Keyshawn. You needed to take your guy out of the game. He should not have been able to cleanly hit D'Eriq King. That's on the blocking. So this was a good play design, in my opinion. We should have run this play much more often during the game, not on the 1-yard line, 2-yard line, but just on 1st down. We should have run it. So you do the power spread. You spread them out. You force the safeties really far back, and you let King run off of the off tackle. Everybody kind of got their blocks well enough for King to be able to make something happen on the 2-yard line, except for Keyshawn's guy. And again, I'm not going to be calling him out the whole game. Keyshawn had a good game, had some freshman mistakes. It happens. But at the end of the day, man, blocking, just like tackling, is all about will. You have to want to block that guy. You have to want to put your body in between him and your quarterback. And Keyshawn struggles with that. Hopefully it's something that Likens can help him with. All right. 3rd and 2. Incomplete to Elijah Arroyo. This was a beautifully designed play, designed rollout, wide open tight end, but the wrong one. King overthrew Will Mallory to the back of the end zone for Arroyo, even though Mallory was wide open. Maybe he knew that Mallory wasn't going to catch it. That's for later, but it was a beautifully designed play. Mallory broke wide open. So instead, they go for now 4th and 2, roll it again. He does the same exact play call. I love that about Lashley. He doesn't do this a lot, but he decided he was going to do the same exact play call, another design rollout. This time, instead of having 2 tight ends out there, he put 2 wide receivers who are a little quicker, and I guess it worked. The defense bit on Harley badly and left Charleston Rambo wide open in the back of the end zone, the same spot that Arroyo was there the play before. And it's almost like they didn't expect us to run the same play twice with different personnel. Some food for thought. I definitely think we should do that more often. Okay, 7-3. We get the ball back. We're rolling. This is where we should have that offensive explosion. Harley, 14 yards. This was just a pat. He just fucking lasered it. And this is where he hits Harley twice in a row after Harley was benched for the 2 drives, for at least a full drive before that. And now he's back in. He only got in at the very end for the touchdown pass. He come right back to him. 27 yards in the air, and it was a laser in there. And Harley took a big hit from 2 people and held onto the ball. My man is back because Lycan said, just because you're a senior doesn't mean you get to play whenever you want, and all is forgiven. You got to make plays if you want to be out there. And he did. So first 2 plays, Mike Harley accounts for 41 yards on the first 2 plays. And then we come out early on their 37-yard line, and D. Wiggins is getting in the action on the same comeback route. So Rambo had a fantastic game, and I really enjoyed the fact that Rambo broke a lot of those not short, but those 9-yard comebacks into bigger gains. I mean, Wiggins is coming out here and making plays. Now you're telling me that through 3 plays, we've put up 40 yards, 50 yards in 3 plays. We put up 50 yards through the air to Harley and Wiggins. There's no way we're not scoring. 28. Now we're on the 28-yard line. Cam runs for 5 yards while they're not prepared off the edge with, again, action going one way. We're faking the screen on the right. So everybody on the defense has to choose before the snap. Are they going to be looking at the left side or the right side of the formation? He gets 5 yards out of it. Good run by Cam. So of course, whenever Cam got a good run this game, it got called back for or negated by some sort of penalty. They decided to take the penalty because, why wouldn't we? Cam Harris, 5 yards. They decided to do a substitution infraction. No play, first down Miami anyway. It was a stupid play call. They shouldn't have stopped the play. The refs were, in my opinion, quite frankly, terrible this game, but whatever. So then we come back, go deep to the end zone, first down on the 23-yard line. We're pressuring them. Keyshawn gets pass interfered with. And here's my thing. This is now the second time that Keyshawn's been pass interfered with, and he does try to catch the ball one-handed, and it literally hits him in the hand as he's getting pushed down. But the first thing he does is get up and ask for the flag. That, to me, is not a good starting point. He should be wanting to catch that ball in the air regardless of whether he gets interfered with or not. And I say that as someone who was a receiver, and just you want to have that mentality of the ball's always yours and you flag, because when you start becoming too reliant on the flag, you play for Miami, man. They're going to screw you more often than not. And you get to the point where Harley was and some of the other guys were last year, where they weren't even trying to fight for the ball. They would just wait for the flag to be thrown, and it wouldn't be thrown. But other than that, Keyshawn is a great deep threat. I love the kid, and I think we should be forcing him the ball a lot more deep. But we'll get there. So we get first and goal on the Michigan State 8. The design on this play was bad, was really bad in my opinion. You're putting a lot on Mallory to block, not only in space, but block multiple guys, because somebody is picking up the running back and guarding Mallory. So that's 2 guys you have to account for. And unless you think that your tackle is going to get out there and block for you, in the same speed that your running back's getting out there. Our tackles just aren't that athletic. None of them are. I mean, Justice is the closest one, and we had to move him to guard. And then he got hurt, I believe. So it just bad play design, in my opinion. He was really trying to pull a fast one on the defense. And again, this Michigan State defense was not overly complicated. The best they tried to do was design fake cover 2 and then roll to cover 3. Okay, fine. That's not really that intense. They did it the whole game. They didn't try to really shift or change what they did on defense. So why are you trying to fake out someone who doesn't need to be faked out? Especially previous to that, again, these plays were getting chunks off the edge. So why are you doing a dump off, a designed dump off out of the backfield? I don't know. So we get 3 yards lost there. Then Mallory drops the touchdown. And this was, in my opinion, a well-executed play. Was it well-designed? It was designed well enough for Mallory to get open, but it wasn't an easy pass and it wasn't an easy catch. Mallory should have caught it because he ran the same play earlier in the game, but and this time it was a more constricted space. But it was there. It was definitely much more valuable than on first down when we wasted a play. So this is my thing. Lashley, you wasted another play like you did the drive before, and now we get another drop. We're just repeating, this is history repeating itself. All right. So then 3rd and goal, we got eyes on me. They decide to play. He calls a different play. And D'Eriq immediately scrambles. I mean, it was not a designed run, but he did not like the way that the line was blocking. So he tries to scramble. They call Gainer for holding. It's not the first time or the last time we're going to hear Gainer's name associated with a penalty. So that's number 1 on Gainer today, so that we could trap back another however many yards, 10 yards. So now we're on the 20-yard line. And when we're on the 8, and this is what we get for 3 or 4 plays of offensive play calling. And then now is the time to do the dump off to Cam Harris. That's fine. This is the same exact play call that he did on first down, obviously with more space and not with Mallory over there. So if someone's not going to pick up their assignment, it's a lot easier to slip Cam out into the flat when all you have to do is read one person and not worry about 2 or 3 guys in the area. Again, what do I know? So reasonable play call in 3rd and long. Chip shot for the stash, and unfortunately he missed. That's a sad stash. So, I mean, I'm not even worried about the missed field goal. Michigan State had a missed field goal. I worry about the fact that we get into the red zone and look, -3, 0, -10. As soon as we go into the goal line, we run into a fucking wall every time. And we still try to run fast-paced in the red zone. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we get the ball back. They score a touchdown, so now they're winning. Rashard Smith, this kid looks so good for a lot of different reasons. He can play anywhere. And, of course, they call personal foul on Gainer, so that's number 2 on Gainer, back-to-back drives. But this reverse to him, beautiful. I love the idea. I love the personnel call. I love everything about the play. And, of course, we get nailed with a penalty. Now, Gainer should know better. Honestly, it's a beautiful crackback, but he did hit him in the helmet with his helmet. I'm surprised they didn't call him for targeting, quite honestly, because you got to get lower than the guy if you're going to do that. Or he could have literally stood there. He could have just literally put his hands out and just kind of like sat there like a tackling dummy. Gainer could have, and he would have blocked 2 guys on Michigan State. That's how well designed the play was. So, of course, he overdoes it. And the thing is, if he didn't get called for holding the drive before, I wouldn't have cared as much. I would have benched his ass after getting called for holding the first time, because now here it is the second time. He's got a second call. He never came out of the game. And I guess I get it, but like, come on, guys. So now 1st and 22, he runs for 1 yard off of, and this one, they do the play breakdown, a very exotic looking formation. They assumed that Michigan State would honor the clear screen setup, and they did not. There are 4 guys out there. There are not 4 defenders out there. So instead, King has to scramble and ends up running towards the side where all the blockers are to try and get some yardage. That clearly indicates that the ball should just gone to the right in the beginning. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20, but if you're going to create this formation, it's got to be a very easy. This is another eyes on me call. Like, let's be clear, we're throwing it to the right, but whatever. Okay, so then we get we almost, well, 2nd and 21, we basically get bailed out by Rambo. This time, King nails it in the middle of the field. Very nice mix up, like mixing it up from just going sideline, sideline, sideline to biting in, having them bite on the outside and go into the middle. 3rd and 4, Rambo again. This one, of course, got to go back to the bread and butter. This should be our bread and butter play. Now, I know that if we play teams that take it away, that's fine, but that means that they're staying wide. They're staying to the sideline. The power spread is working because they have to cover the sidelines on the comebacks. That's a good thing. That means they're open to deep passes. That means they're open to inside zone, perhaps. I love that as our bread and butter play. If one good thing came out of this, it should be that we should be running comebacks every goddamn play against every goddamn defense. And then we get the first down. Despite having a penalty at the very beginning, we've got all this good momentum, and Derek's laid on the pass and just gives it away. I'm surprised he didn't tuck and run, honestly. To me, I don't know. It was rough. So anyway, we get the ball back. It's still 10-7, 30 seconds left in the second quarter, and we run a QB option. King, in my opinion, reads the QB option beautifully. So I think he got that locked down fairly well. Now, it helps that, as the game went on, he got more and more beat up, so he kind of had to hand it off each time. But there was a lot less, why did he hand that off, or why did he hold on to that sort of moments? There were less this game than there were in the game before, or even the game before that. Now, that was Alabama, but still. Okay. Then he gets hit on the throw because we could not block. And Rambo catches the ball anyway because he's just on fire, but he couldn't get his foot down. So 2nd and 10, completes it to Keyshawn right across the middle. They went wide because it's a 2-minute drill. Good play call, good execution. And then we throws it to Rambo, but he doesn't get it up high enough so Rambo can get out of bounds. That's a big problem. 3rd and 2, he tries to throw to Harley, and it was broken up actually on the pass. So that's, that was the deep pass basically. Okay. So start of the third quarter, rolls out, tries to throw it to Rambo. I think he underthrew that one. Or it might have been defended. But again, not a bad play design. Roll out, get him in space, hit Rambo. These are all things for success. But we should be also running off of those things. So what do we do instead of that? We run basically a play action, I don't even know, a reverse out and dump it to him in the flat. These don't make sense to me. I would rather have our quarterback in the flat rolling out than trying to do some weird turnaround because neither of them are comfortable in this particular setup. And it doesn't make sense. This defense has not told you in any way or showed you that the flats are open. The deep comebacks are open, but everything around the box, behind the scenes, we barely ran any screens too. Like none of this stuff was open all game. Just run at them. So then 3rd and 9, they had a look at me. Keyshawn dropped the pass. It was there, the deep comeback. Keyshawn just looked before he actually had the ball because he wanted to run for another 30 yards. Again, freshman mistakes. I think the kid's going to be great. But, he's also not producing, is my point. We get it back anyway with roughing the kicker. So then Cameron runs for 7 yards, but of course he runs by Zion, who had to have held. It's the only way we can get a positive run play more than 3 yards. So they bring it back 10 yards, 2nd and 20. This time King scrambles, but he runs right up the gut. Beautiful. We should have been doing design QB runs all game, in my opinion, before King got hurt. Okay, 2nd and 10. Look at me. What do we run? We run option and read option. Cam gets 5 yards because he hits the line and plunges through, basically. This is just what he does. That's the only way he can get yardage. But again, not bad. 2nd and 10, get 5 yards. 3rd and 5, here we are. And King scrambles and gets severely injured. And this was a look at me play. I get it, but come on. Like, we threw the ball 60 times this game. And with the scrambles that King had, there were probably 65 pass calls this game. That's just too much. That's too much, and that's the person who ends up suffering the most. And so we have to punt it anyway. I didn't even put there that we punted it. They score another touchdown because our defense ended up getting worn down by this third quarter. So we then come out with this 2 tight end set. And I've got Elijah Arroyo as the fullback because I think the kid's great. And I want to make sure to mention when he's on the field, he gets completed for 7 yards. This was, another play action rollout sort of thing. But see how much more dramatic the play action is when you're going with a heavy set. You got 2 tight end set. You're running off tackle with the running back. So he actually is carrying out the play action. Defenses are going to have to honor that, even if we don't get much out of it. First of all, I think we should just run out of this set all the time, establish a zone stretch off tackle to make it something that they have to adhere to. And I think any of our running backs could be pretty good with that sort of thing if you threw in extra blockers, but also you leak out Arroyo and he gets 7 yards. Good stuff. 2nd and 3, another 7-yard pass, this time to Keyshawn. Fake the screen with the 2 tight ends out there. I think that's a beautiful setup. Everybody on Michigan State has to adhere to that. And Keyshawn is open. I mean, he was like the 3rd read, but he was a pre-snap read. Good stuff. We're forcing this defense to choose one side of the formation or the other on those plays. On this play, we end up in an I form and complete to D Wiggins. Again, the comeback. We're cooking, right? We're doing good. We're only down 10, and then we run a 1 yard play. This one, I think King should have held. I mean, he should have held on to the ball and kept the ball instead of handing it off. But he also was injured. So, why are we running read option when King's already injured? Strategically, the player is weak. He's not as dynamic as he normally is. He's injured. Switch up the play calls. This did not benefit us in any way. The quick passes made a lot of sense. Keyshawn, this was actually, I think, overthrown because we didn't keep a blocker in. And again, this was an eyes on me play where Lashley would have seen that the blitz was coming and decided to keep the play call or change the play call, even worse, to where the blockers who could have stayed in to block for King as he's injured and doesn't need to get hit anymore. We send Cam out on a pass instead of letting him stay in pass pro, and King has to force the ball. He rushes it. It's incomplete, and he takes another hit. Just piss poor in terms of being in the moment and calling the right play. Okay, so then King does hit Brinson on 3rd down to get the 1st down, and Romello, kid looks good. On the rollout, he kept his cool. He stayed with his quarterback. Look where the pass is. It's parallel with King, so it's an easier throw. He's not trying to run too far away or change his direction or anything like that. He's keeping pace. Natural, man. He's a fucking natural. And then Rambo does what he does, which is run that deep curl and burn his guy for 25 yards. And then we get to the 14-yard line. And hey, we're inside the red zone, so we struggle like crazy. Like fucking crazy. So Harley is the intended target. This was, again, another eyes on me call. We did the orbit motion, tried to get Harley across. This formation doesn't make sense to me in terms of you're forcing everybody on the defense to be compact, not only in terms of being deep, because they're only on the 14-yard line, but also left to right. There's nobody stretching the field on the right-hand side. I know you've got Rambo running some crazy motion, but he's still very tight. He's right over Mallory when the play is called. So there is no reason for anybody on the right side of the field where King inevitably throws the pass to be any wider than the tight end where he throws the pass. Like, they're already there. So you're not stretching the defense in any way, shape, or form. Also, these routes are not going to the back of the end zone. The one route I saw to the back of the end zone, well, 2. One was the touchdown pass to Rambo earlier, where they left him wide open because he stretched the defense, and the other one was to Keyshawn when they call him for pass interference while he's running to the back pylon. I mean, there's a reason why the space is there, guys. So, then we short arm incomplete to Harley. This was on the outside. This would have gotten us a few more yards on 1st and 10, or really would have been 2nd and 10, I believe. Yep. And so then 3rd and 10, he forces it in there, and Rambo is a fucking G. There's nothing else to say about it. This was not a particularly well-designed play. Much better pass protection, so King had the space to make the pass which is good. And when he feels comfortable, the dude throws darts. When he's not comfortable, and he's not comfortable at least 75% of the time, it doesn't matter. By this point in the game, Rambo is what I would call a monster. And in chess, there is a term for this. A monster bishop or a monster knight are pieces where, in this particular case for bishop, it's so well placed, so powerfully placed, so well developed in terms of where it is and what it's doing and its job, that it basically wins on its own. In this particular setup, the bishop is right here, and it's already cutting off the king that side. And here we've got the queen who's going to move to this spot and cut off the king on that side. And that's all she wrote. There is nothing that can be done in this particular setup that can stop, or that black can do to win the game or even avoid losing the game. Even though in this setup, black has more pieces, black has, whatever, stronger pieces on the board, in theory, 2 rooks instead of 1 rook, queen, whatever, it doesn't matter. Because of where they are and what they're doing and how they're working together, this bishop acts as a piece 10 times better than any other piece that black has. And it's a beautiful thing. However, you cannot win a game with just a bishop, no matter how strong it is. And that is just chess fact. So, of course, we look here and we look at Rambo's receiving line, 12 catches for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns, and we lose by 21. We only score 17 points. He was our offense. You cannot win with just a bishop. So, at the end of the third quarter, we run a pretty fancy looking, I would say, end around, not really reverse, but not to Brashard Smith, who did a great job when he got a chance earlier in the game. No, we run it to Harley, who gets 1 yard. Fine. Again, this was the eyes on me play. They stopped and switched to this. So I'm telling you, Lashley's sticking at a pretty solid C- throughout this game because of the stuff like this. And then another eyes on me call. Now he completes it to Keyshawn. And this one was a 5-yard gain. I think he just ran the little quick out. Again, that flat was open. When you ran the guy deep, you force them deep. You got to have the clear out route. And they did. Keyshawn gets the 5 yards, actually takes it upfield for another 4, and then gets targeting. So we get 24 yards out of that. And so we go from being kind of stuck in our own red zone to 24 yards out, 32, and sack. I mean, just, I don't know. I think this was just poor execution. I couldn't even tell you what the play call was, because they did put pass pro, max protect, tried to defend King as much as possible. My man didn't even get a chance to read the defense. I think he was going to try and hit the guy out deep. I think he was going to hit Charleston, because why wouldn't you go after Rambo again so he could get his 13th catch of the game? And we couldn't even defend with 7 guys back there to block. So that one, at least, that's not on Lashley. Really, none of the turnovers were on Lashley, but there were plenty of bad mistakes that shouldn't have put us in those positions where we're losing those things. That one was just, he tried to address it and it didn't work. So anyway, so then we go give them the ball because they score. Yep, they score another touchdown. And then Cam, off of a very well executed QB option. It's a lot easier when you're stretching the defense on the deep curls all the time. Now all of a sudden those outside runs look better and better and better. And I was very happy that Cam finally got one of his longer runs not called back by a fucking penalty. Then we come back and he immediately gets sacked. He's got nowhere to run. Again, we're not running a screen out of this stack formation. It's fine, I guess. But there was also no play action. There was nothing really. It was just, let's stack our receivers so that they're easier to cover and not run anything out of it. I think we abused, like against Alabama, we had some bad formations, in my opinion, and we kept going back to them anyway. This was the one that we had. And then same thing against App State. We ran pistol way too much. This one was the game of the double stack, and I really don't think it should be used more than a few times a game. Anyway, Mallory comes back. He does make a catch this time, and he actually breaks a tackle. Good for you, bud. We need more of those. He should be running through guys, but hey, it's okay. 15 yards, first down. I don't mind having Mallory and Arroyo on the field. Arroyo ended up being on the field for the next few plays. Cam runs 3 yards on the zone read. Okay, 2nd and 7. He then has to scramble, and of course, because we get a decent run, Gainer gets called for a holding, which made no goddamn sense. I watched that play probably 10 times. I don't think he was holding. B, our left guard, I think it was Scaife at that point because Rivers was injured, has a hand on the guy. They're kind of double teaming the guy that gets held, and then Scaife lets him go and almost hits King with his arm as he's standing there not doing anything. So it was just bad all around. But hey, whatever. As soon as we get a halfway decent run, that's when they call us back. That's now Gainer's third penalty of the game. He accounted for 32 yards of penalty yards in one game. So, what are you going to do? I say bench him, but, that's just me. And then Romello, again, coming in big. 15 yards to get us a very manageable 3rd and 2. Him right over the field. Good pass protection this time. They actually did communicate. Our line shows flashes. 3rd and 2, go our max protect. And Cam ends up running for 1 yard. He got cut a little short. I think he could have gotten a little more out of this. I thought he did get the first down the first time I saw it, but he did get tripped up a little bit. And we ran it hard right at the heart of the defense. So then 4th and 1, and King scrambles. And not only does he scramble, this was not supposed to be, in my opinion, this was a actual pass play. They had trips right, the whole 9 yards. And King decides to scramble, but then he dives after he's already got the first down. And in the air, he gets just pummeled by 2 defenders. He was going to try and will us to win as much as he could at the cost of everything. And it was kind of sad to see knowing the end result while rewatching those plays. At the time, I was like, this guy's a gamer, and there's a long season, man. So, I hope he gets better soon. But okay, so Cam runs for 1 yard off the edge there. This one, I don't think we should have been able to seal that a little better, quite honestly. But hey, we're trying to keep them honest. Oh, this was the other thing. This was compressed. This was on the right side of the field, and we still have trips right. We still have our running back to the right. You're not setting up your guys for success unless you expect Cam Harris to outrun the entire Michigan defense running to the right. This one, Cam decided to bounce it outside, quote unquote outside, which meant right to the middle of the field instead of trying to hit the hole or even do a cutback like a one step. And I understand why people get on him, because when Cam decides to do one step and go and hit the hole, he's very strong. He is a good runner. He just chooses not to a lot. He keeps overthinking it, in my opinion. 2nd and 9, we got Harley. This one, I believe, was I don't even think it was a drop. I think it was actually broken up. Or no, it was short armed. It was skipped to Harley. Yep, that's what happened. And then 3rd and 9, he rolls out. He tries to throw it back across, and they're waiting for it this time. Everybody on Michigan State figured out who Rambo is, so given enough time, they're all covering him and nobody else. But again, King, he's beaten up to all. I mean, he's been just, the shit's been kicked out of him. So he's short arming passes at the end of the game. He's having a hard time trying to run, trying to get, create space for himself. So he settled for a field goal. It was just bad, man. I mean, after that, we're not even going to talk about the rest of the game. In my opinion, I still hold that interception at the end of the game. I believe that King he said, I'm still going back out there. And I think Lashley didn't have the heart to tell him no. So then he had him just roll out so he didn't get hit too hard and throw a short out, not even a deep 9-yard pass, like a 5-yard, comeback, and just let him pick it off and get him off the field as much as possible and have him stop trying to kill himself out there for the team because the rest of the team didn't develop. So this failure to develop is just something that you see a lot when you see players losing games in chess, and you see obviously people not scoring on offense. When we talk about this, failure to develop your pieces during a chess game basically means that you have these people who are ready to contribute and you're doing nothing with them. And in a chess game, you've got these pieces that can do a lot for you, but you're doing nothing with them. So in this particular setup, Black here, the team that we're going against, they got all these guys coming after the King. All of them are just like they're wiping these guys out. So, and this was actually from a recent chess match between two grandmasters as well. Black here has got all their pieces mounting this attack. White has actually more pieces. In a lot of ways, they have more material, and White should be the one winning this game. But these two pieces I've highlighted, they didn't move the entire game. Not once. They didn't move anywhere. And the player on White obviously had opportunities to increase it and move the pieces more and be more aggressive, or just get pieces in position to do something. And they never did. And so even though White had more pieces, Black's the one who actually uses all the pieces. So White might as well have taken 2 pieces off the board and just never used them. That's how I felt about this game, man. Lashley pulled a lot of stuff out of the box. He really tried to open up the playbook, but that doesn't mean that he used it well. I mean, the times when he said, "Come look at me," and he tried to make things, change things up on the fly, he didn't necessarily change them up to people who were in a position to do anything. Why run the end around to Harley? Why change to that play? Why not? And then earlier in the game, why not change to a play where it's a quick hitch to Mallory, who gets 5-6 yards just from being there and not being covered? These are all relatively easy adjustments, and Lashley intervened in order not to make those adjustments, but to do something even fancier. And he didn't allow Mallory to get, if Mallory gets that pass early on, he gets a lot more confidence, and not just basically one catch before then, and then he has to try and catch the touchdown. Yeah, he still dropped it. It's still his fault. But there's easier ways to develop your pieces. Rambo ended up with 12 catches. The next closest person on our team ended up with 4. And that's really a shame, because anybody else on this team, we threw the ball 60 times. Anybody else on the team should have ended up with at least 6, maybe 8 catches. And they don't need to have 12 catches themselves, but we didn't develop anybody else. We didn't even try. And that, to me, is the reason why we only scored 17 points on offense. We became way too one-dimensional, and we didn't try to use what was working well as a way to set up other plays. So for me, Lashley ended up with a C- for the game, which is better than App State. If I had to, grade App State, I would have said he got an F pretty much. I mean, we won the game, but not because of offense. And part of it was that he was, in my opinion, trying to establish some sort of bread and butter. It didn't happen at App State. We don't have an inside run game as our bread and butter. I like the hitches on the outside. A lot of people got them. It wasn't just Rambo. That should be our bread and butter across the board, is running hitches everywhere. And hopefully that'll help us going forward. Alabama, I don't even think we completed the test. I guess you give him a grade, it'd be a D- for that. So he has improved. He broke out more of the playbook against Michigan State, but going from an F to a C- is improvement, but he's still not passing with flying colors. So that's my read on it. I hope you guys enjoyed the analysis, the breakdown. I love the comments here. Of course, it's just my one buddy trying to give me shit. Typical Notre Dame fan. Y'all can give him shit as well, because they're about to fall, because they're overrated for sure. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I did take an hour. This was a long one, and I'll be doing this throughout the year. I don't care how bad or good the Canes are. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope we will improve throughout the year, and I hope that we'll have much better things to see from the guys this weekend, your newer players, all that good stuff. And I hope Lashley actually tries to, string together some strategy back and forth. If he wants to run the same play 10 times, it's fine, as long as the play is working. That's all we really care about. So anyway, as always, go Canes. We'll see you all next time. And take it easy.